I am Liz Hausburg, the Coordinator of Religious Education for Children and Youth at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Easton. We welcome members, friends, visitors. It's good to be together. It is the first Sunday of June. Being the first Sunday of the month, we celebrate all those that were born this month. So happy birthday to all those born in June. It's also a tradition in our congregation that the first Sunday of June is Religious Education Sunday, or what we call RE Sunday, where we celebrate our teachers and our children as they've put in all the hard work for this year. The focus of our gathering today will be on blessings. We have gone through an exceptionally anxious couple of months, many stressful weeks, and for many of us, days of despair and anger. As much as our world, our country, and our towns are frustrated, it is my hope that we can allow this time together to be about peace, joy, and our blessings. We invite you to bring all of who you are into this shared space. Come with your full identity. You are welcome. No matter your race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or gender identity, you are welcome here. Our Unitarian Universalism tradition invites you into those questions, into pauses that are meaningful. We come to walk together, uncovering questions, exploring our dreams and concerns together. We continue to build our interconnection to the interdependent web of all existence. All of us are important and worthy. If you have any questions about our Eastern Shore congregations or about the Unitarian Universalist faith, please ask. Check our website, email, or call. Even though we are not meeting at this time in our physical building, we hope that you'll get to know us better. Come, let us worship together. One of the traditions of UU is to light a chalice in the beginning of our service. Today, I light the chalice with the words of Douglas John Traversa. In a world filled with the darkness of ignorance, let us bring light of reason. In a world filled with darkness of despair, may we share the light of hope. In a world filled with the darkness of hate, let us shine the light of love. On RE Sunday, Thoughts for All Ages is an appreciation of those who have worked with our children. Our first person is Ellie Walter. Ellie was in charge of our playroom. The children learned to play together, they did puzzles, coloring, learned to share, and she was a wonderful influence on our youngest group. Our elementary kids were taught by Robert Ferloni, Lee Marcus, and Martha Hamlin. They used a program called Faithful Journeys. They helped the kids be positive agents of change. And finally, we had an OWL group this year. OWL stands for Our Whole Lives, a human sexuality program for youth that models and teaches caring, compassion, respect, and justice. Our two teachers for that class was Lauren Harton and Bill Browning. When middle school kids did show up, I was able to try and work with them in a program called Riddle and Mystery, where we tried to answer the big questions. Even though they're not here in person with me today, please enjoy the following pictures of our teachers as we appreciate them.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sue Browning, and Liz asked me to say a few words on RE Sunday, which is just great. So first, just an amazing shout out to the entire RE community at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Easton. You folks are amazing. So if I think back to the whole year, if I think back to everything that Liz has done and the RE teachers have done and the RE children and the RE youth and to Ellie and to everybody who has been helpful in pulling together this year, thank you. Especially thank you to moving into virtual services with grace. This is clearly not the year that we expected, but it's the year that we got. And so we celebrate at the end of this year with love. So last year, I don't know if anybody remembers how RE Sunday went, but I really do, because we co-opted RE Sunday and made it my installation. It was June 2nd, we had big tents out. I think the kids may remember they gave me this amazing flip chart of books. There is the installation book, which I had out here, that has amazing pictures of the congregation, has amazing pictures of how that day went. And as we celebrate RE Sunday, I invite us, I'm going to put the book down, I invite us to remember the feel of that day, the feel of the tents, and the many ways that we came together. Because I do want you to know that I look at that flip chart and I look at that book often, and it reminds me that as we make decisions as a church, as we do our fundraising, as we do everything else, to consider the learners of all ages in the congregation. And I especially want to thank Liz. Thank you for ministering to me. Thank you for your care for the congregation. And thank you for always reminding us to be kind. And yes, you might hear the dog in the background. So Liz asked me to do the meditation today, so I invite us into a quiet time during the service. Maybe put your feet on the floor. Maybe put your hands in your lap. And we'll be quiet together, just for a few minutes. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that all people should be treated fairly and kindly. Our Unitarian Universalist RE lessons, they teach us over and over to worry about others and to think about others and make sure they're treated fairly and to make sure we're treated fairly ourselves. It's work we do when we reach out to everyone. It's one of our core values as Unitarian Universalists. So in this quiet time, I want you to first think about everything we've done over these last months to keep one another healthy. We closed school buildings. We closed our church buildings, but we didn't stop learning and we didn't stop worshiping together, and we did that so we could care for one another. As we're starting to get out in the world a little bit more, we're wearing masks, and we wear a mask or we stand 6 feet apart so that we can care for one another. So breathe deep. Think about what you're learning about treating people fairly through the COVID virus. And next, I think all of us have noticed that people around the United States are gathering and they want to be really sure everybody's treated fairly. We're having vigils, we're having demonstrations, we're having protests. And these are messages about being clear that everybody needs to be treated fairly and they're not always treated fairly. We do that work together. We're going to have to work together to lift up this value of fairness. So take a moment now. Breathe deep. Think about why people are gathering. And think about the long-term work it's going to take for everybody to be treated well. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, surround us in this time and remind us of our deepest values. Give us the courage to stand up for what is right. Give us the the courage to notice when someone has not been treated fairly, and remind us of the power we have when we work together. We come together in love and commitment. We come together as community. Amen, and blessed be. The next part of our service is to share our joys and sorrows with one another. It's something we do as a Unitarian Universalist community to always remind us that each person is going through their own journey at any given time. And during this time of virtual services, if you have a joy and sorrow to share, please email it to me by noon on Friday, and we'll include it in the service. So today we're just going to light one candle, and then all the joys and sorrows that I'm going to read in a minute will be represented by that one candle. So I'm going to take the chalice I lit for myself earlier, and we'll light the joy and sorrow candle from that. So the candle, the one that you can see behind me that's sort of a light green color, that's our candle for today. And it covers those who are sick or have died from the virus and all the many helpers that are helping us get through this time. The candle represents all of them today, and we hold them in our love. This candle is for a man named Mr. George Floyd, who died on Monday, May 25th. We have not been together and shared joys and sorrows individually since then, and we hold Mr. Floyd's family, all of his loved ones, in our care. He's somebody who lived in Minneapolis, and he died a way that nobody should ever die. Then as we get into the congregation's joys and sorrows, we have included in this candle a thrilling report from Rita and Dawn that they have a new granddaughter born in Wisconsin, and they share that our son Nathan and wife Kate welcomed their first child into the world last week. Evelyn Bernice arrived at 8 pounds and 4 ounces, and all are doing great. So that is just wonderful news and exciting to think about new life in this world. Today's candle is also for Liz Parks. Those of you who are friends with Liz know that she posted last week in Facebook that she is on a very long waiting list for a kidney transplant. And Liz shares with us today, "Thank you all for your kind thoughts regarding my health. While my children do not qualify as donors, a friend has volunteered and is now being tested. Doctors say my condition is not yet critical and has been stable for months." So while this is not a new illness for Liz, it's a special time of focus as she waits for a transplant. And Liz, we hold you, we hold Steve and your family in our love and care. Today's candle is also for Rodney. It's Elizabeth's husband. He is the proud owner of a new shoulder as of Monday, and all is healing well so far, so we send our healing wishes to you, Rodney. And finally, this candle today is one big birthday candle. We want to make sure to recognize all who were born in June. We are so glad you're with us now, and we celebrate your birthday virtually and in all the different ways we've learned to celebrate. Happy birthday to everyone born in June. So let's just take a moment for the many joys and sorrows that have been spoken, and for those in our hearts. We hold this community in love. So this ends our quiet time. Happy RE Sunday, and we'll be in touch soon.
This story is called The Secret to Counting Your Blessings. The story was written by Rabbi Evan, who is a rabbi of the Congregational Salal in suburban Chicago. This story is about a man who lived in a one-room hut with his mother, his wife, and 6 children. The hut, as we can imagine, was filled with crying and quarreling. It was noisy and hard to live in. One day, when the man felt he couldn't take it anymore, he went to see the rabbi for advice. "Rabbi," he said, "things are bad and getting worse. I live in a one-room home with my mother, my wife, and 6 kids. The noise and the crowd is unbearable. Help me find some peace, Rabbi. What can I do?" The rabbi thought for a moment, and he asked, "Do you have a chicken?" The man answered, "Yes, of course I do." "Good," said the rabbi. "Take the chicken and bring it into your home." "Well, okay," said the man, and he went home and did just that. Imagine what the house was like now. In addition to the man, his mother, his wife, and 6 kids, there was now a chicken clucking incessantly all over. Frustrated, the man returned to the rabbi and said, "Rabbi, I did what you said, but it's worse than it was before." The rabbi said, "Tell me, do you have a goat?" The man said, "Yes, I have a goat." "Excellent," said the rabbi. "Take the goat and bring that into the house also." So the man, a little bit bewildered, went home, and now the house is crying, quarreling, clucking, and there's a goat pushing and butting everyone throughout the house. The man returned to the rabbi again. To his shock, the rabbi instructed him to bring his cow into the house. The rabbi must be crazy, the man thought, but he did as he was instructed. The house became utter chaos. When he returned to the rabbi for the 4th time, the man screamed, "Help me! The end of the world is here. There is no room in my house to even breathe." The rabbi listened and said, "Go home. Take all the animals out of your hut." The man rushed home and did just that. That night was the sweetest and most relaxing night he ever had. Every member of the family slept comfortably and peacefully. When he returned to the rabbi, the man said, "Rabbi, you have made this life sweet for me. With just my family in the hut, it's so quiet, so roomy, so peaceful. What a blessing." What a blessing. When we feel overwhelmed, we can gain perspective by counting the blessings we enjoy each and every day.
I like playing in the playroom and doing art across from the playroom and singing Spirit of Life. Bye, we love you. Hi, Liz.
Benny liked
Playing at sorts.
Yeah. And
I miss you.
bye.
Bye. It's Fiona. I like RE because there's snacks at the end and arts and crafts, and I love Miss Gina, even though she's gone.
My favorite thing to do in RE was make dog biscuits.
I like to make art at church.
You like making art at church?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
No.
Nothing else? What about Mystery Friends? Did you like that?
Yes.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, what I like about RE is when we do the art projects. Bye.
What I liked most about RA was learning about world religions with Miss Carroll.
Being RE Sunday, I would be remiss if I didn't say what a blessing the children are in our congregation. From the smallest playroom kid to our high school kids, each one brings a certain amount of joy, laughter, and excitement to our worship time. I miss that. I miss being connected with our kids in our physical building. I realized after reading the story of the man in the hut several times how much it resonates with me. The idea of not knowing what you have, or maybe just not appreciating the small things until they're not there. The last few months of the pandemic have brought to the forefront those things I took for granted. They are truly blessings. I miss being able to visit family and friends, being able to have people over for dinner, just hugging. The closeness we have as people is what connects us. I'm a teacher who has been providing instruction daily by virtual computers for the last marking period. The art of teaching involves the connection with the children. The hand on the shoulder for encouragement, the smile that says, keep going, you're doing it right, or that stern look that says, I think it's time you stop that. All those small things build the relationship that encourages a child to keep learning, to keep trying, and I miss that. The cost of the pandemic has been great in terms of sickness, loneliness, lives lost, and economic anxieties. So how do we stay positive? Let's look for the blessings. In many ways, these times could make us like the man in the one-room hut with the large family. Very difficult to see how blessed we are. But when we add all the other challenges, be it extra animals, or the pandemic, or racial unrest, it certainly makes us feel blessed for everything we may have taken for granted. Those tiny rays of light that I appreciate more now as the blessings include my health, my job, a safe home, technology to connect with friends and family. Let's face it, hand sanitizer and toilet paper. It is these things that can help us stay positive and keep us ever hopeful. I encourage us all to be a blessing to someone or something. Be the blessing that helps your child with the schoolwork. Be the blessing that donates to the neighborhood service center. Be the blessing that is kind to all. One last thing before I close. I realize our country is at a turning point. People are feeling despair and anger over the senseless and brutal death of George Floyd. I'm troubled in my heart, and I pray for his family. But also I pray for change. May our country's awareness, compassion, and love for our fellow brothers and sisters of all colors evolve to a place of peace and understanding. May we ask ourselves, how can we be a blessing to all people, and especially people of color at this time in our country?
I'm gonna
words today come from Gary Kowalski, and I think they really fit where we are today. Gathered in our varied faiths, we give thanks for the blessings of world community. And we share our common dream. Homes and schools where children thrive, neighborhoods that are safe and clean, a city rich in colors and cultures, an economy where no one is expendable, a beloved community where rich and poor alike have access to the opportunities for a dignified and productive life. Churches, mosques, synagogues, and temples, where our deepest hope is to be of service to a hurting world. Enable us as we leave this place to carry forth this prayer in the coming week, turning our thoughts toward charity, our hearts toward justice, and our hands toward the work